All right, everyone, stop your swiping, pause that TikTok. It's time to focus for the Unmitigated Gall audacious interview, one-on-one with someone in the media who is making it happen. With me today, the pod's first interview, a woman who is the caffeine in your morning show coffee. She could sell water to a whale and a black story to a red state. A wife, a mother, a proud Houstonian who swears she's not related to Beyonce. My friend and colleague, Melissa Knowles. Melissa, thank you for being with me.
Gosh, that was like the most beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. And yes, I am a proud Houstonian. And I don't think I'm related to Beyonce. Yes, because we're both from Houston. And of course, we are melanated. People make that assumption. Oh, and my last name being Knowles. There's that part. So,
right. Well, I mean, you're a star in your own right. So I'm happy
thanks.
that you're here. Like I said, the first guest. I couldn't ask anybody else first. So I'm just happy to be with you. And, you know, we worked together for a few years, and it was really one of the best times of my career as far as fun, engagement. I think about those times fondly. So whenever I look at your segments, I'm like, oh, I could have just,
You got tweaked a little bit, right? Yeah, I mean, honestly, those were some of the best years for my career as well. Not just because you're a fantastic producer, you were and are just so keenly aware of the culture and the moment. And I mean, we've only known each other for what, like 4 or 5 years, but I promise it's like you live in here because you would write in my voice. So I would read the script and be like, that's exactly what I would say. Like, and we hadn't even discussed it, but you always knew exactly the way to put a story out there where it made sense, but it was also, I mean, I guess the morning caffeine that you needed without having a cup of coffee.
exactly. And we're going to get to the culture and that later. So put a pin in that. But,
Okay.
You're a anchor and correspondent for HLN. So I want to talk about that first.
Mm-hmm.
You came to HLN in 2015 when there was a rebranding, a whole shift. You were part of the Daily Share,
Yeah.
and you lasted, and you've seen those changes. So where was your mind then in 2015, and what do you think about that time now?
I will say, as my father has always told me, that the only constant is change, as cliche as that sounds. And at that time in my life in 2014, 2015, I was going through a major transition in my personal life as well as my professional life. Full disclosure, and I keep it so real, I keep it raw. I was in the middle of a divorce at that point, and I was honestly just happy to have a job. When CNN and HLN were like, that's our girl, I was like, I'll sign the contract right now because I needed the money, I needed steady work, and I needed something to focus on that wasn't my personal life. Coming in for the Daily Share, I was excited to be a part of that team and to work with those individuals because it was something new. HLN was in the process of rebranding, and it always feels good and fresh and new to be a part of something like that. The Daily Share did not last, but your girl did. And now I'm on Morning Express with Robin Meade. I feel like the reason that I was able to sustain and maintain is because, and I'm not trying to rhyme on purpose, although I do spit hot fire. Not really. Taiwan. I just really, I try to adapt whenever I saw a time to pivot and that it would be necessary to do so. And I think that what translated from the Daily Share to Morning Express was just me being myself, my personality coming through each one of those scripts, not just reading the words in print or saying the words that were in front of me on the teleprompter, but really being conversational as I am with you right now, being the same person off camera as I am on camera. I was doing this segment, and it was called, oh my goodness, see, and I'm drawing a blank. It was a segment where we talked about what was trending like that hour, and they would come to me at the top of every hour. Do you remember that? And it was this graph, and it was in real time, and nothing was written. So I would just have to say, okay, coming in at number 5, and obviously we would do the backward, the countdown, right? Coming at number 5, it is Zendaya. Oh, y'all. So she is trending on Instagram, and well, TikTok wasn't a thing back then. She's trending on Instagram and Twitter right now because everybody said, what's up, what's that there? Something like that. And then I would count down for each topic. And I feel that the bosses were like, oh, she's just like ad-libbing but saying all the facts and making it fun and relatable. And that was something that they were looking for. So, and I didn't know that at the time. Again, just being myself. So that time in my life was so like transitional for me. But again, I was trying to make sure that I was focused on pivoting and adapting in both my personal and professional life.
Now, I remember that, and I feel like that was one of the more innovative parts of the show, which could have worked and stayed because, like you said, you had the graphic, this big monitor that shows kind of the spikes in the trending. Do you think it was the execution of the Daily Share as a whole, or do you think that we just kind of weren't ready, or was it right place and time?
I think it was a combination of all of the above. I do believe that there is still a place for, how can I not remember what it was called? That there is still a place for that segment in any daily news show, because while people will say, oh, I don't really care what's trending, I'm not really talking about that. Yes, you are, because that's why it's trending. Yes, you are, because this is the water cooler conversation of the moment. And now, as we're getting out of the pandemic and you are having face-to-face encounters with people again, or even if you're just having those conversations on social media, you want to know what's going on. And I'm Knowles it all, so I get to know it so I could tell all of y'all. I absolutely believe that if it were to come back now, that there would still, the social index, boom, it came to your girl. Because I'm sitting here like, what was it called? The social index.
That's what it was.
Yeah, there is a space and a place for the social index to continue to exist. And I would certainly be the person to bring that to you, because I think I'm addicted to social news. I can't turn it off. Even when I'm on vacation, as I was. I don't know if you see my summer color. I was in Jamaica a couple of weeks ago having a good time. Even on the beach, I'm sitting there looking at my phone like, oh, really? Because also, I like to be in the loop. And I wasn't checking my work emails. Turn those notifications off. Unsubscribe. I was looking at like just the topics of conversation because I wanted to know what was happening so that when I got back from vacation, I would be prepared to speak on it.
And really, that's what people are going to be talking about. I used to sometimes get frustrated if we had to like trim down a segment of yours because I feel like those water cooler topics, that's what people talk about. Like you can only talk about shootings and, these wars for so long. So I always appreciated that. But I wanted to get back to like you and you first coming because the word on you, I wasn't working with you at that point. Lord. And so, newsrooms talk and the word on you was so different from my actual experience with you.
What was the word? I want to hear what was the word.
The word I got was that, she's a little difficult. She'll shade you if you don't produce it right. But my experience with you is you'll read the script that you're given, even if it's a bad one, you'll deliver it to the best of your ability. And if it is good, you will take it to that next level. Like, for instance, I had no idea you didn't like those segments where you sell stuff. I thought you loved doing it because they were so great. But so my point of view is I was given a bad info on you.
Yes,
and I'm glad it turned out to be wrong.
Yeah, set the record straight, brother, because yes, I am not difficult to work with. And can I just say that is a reputation that, one, does not pertain to me, but two, that I believe a number of Black women can be labeled as difficult for one time saying anything that someone else perceives as not going along with the get along. I have a voice and I'm going to use it. I have more than a decade, almost two, of experience in this business. So I'm not brand new. I know your girl looks young. Thank you, DNA. I'm just saying that there have been many times where I have felt that I have had to prove myself on a daily basis as someone worthy of having a seat at the table. And now I don't feel the need to prove myself because I show up and I do the work every single day. But I do appreciate you at least getting to know me and seeing that I was not difficult to work with. I'm going to tell you if I don't like something. I'm going to tell you when I do. Is that difficult?
No, and I think, every time, this is not me kissing your butt. This is straight up. When there are times where I needed to add something or change something, or maybe went a little too hard, you told me. And, I feel like that dialogue should happen. And maybe if the producer isn't comfortable having that dialogue, maybe that's what happens. But, countless correspondents, anchors, reporters have said, you have to look out for your own career. So I can't really get mad at that. And then if a producer is not doing their job, you're kind of sowing seeds of doubt into your talent for the future. So again, that was not the case. But can you think of a story or example? I mean, like I said, you've worked as a sports reporter. Mm-hmm. I mean, like you said, you have a long career before you came to HLN. Can you think of a time where you had to set the record straight, either with the producer or other talent in order to get Melissa Knowles conveyed properly on camera?
But before I tell you that part, I do want to say that a lot of times people who have never worked in television before and who see TV and see news anchors or anyone who's presenting something in front of the camera, but particularly with the news, they forget that there is, especially at a national level, that there is an entire team working on each one of these scripts. There's producer, there's writers, there's a whole team. But when you are the face putting that information out there, people will take it from you and say, oh, well, Melissa said that. So if I make a mistake or if I flub something on the air, they're not saying, oh, I wonder who on her team messed that up. It's like, oh, Melissa messed that up. So yeah, it is you putting your face and your name out there associated with whichever story you're telling that day. And I think I know that is why for me, I get to a place where I'm at a place where I'm always trying to do my very best and to tell the stories factually and with a little bit of pizzazz, because it's coming from me, yes, but there's a team who I'm representing. As far as the time where I have had to set somebody straight, I won't use a very specific example that happened. Well, I will use a specific example that happened recently. I won't name names.
Don't name them.
I'm not gonna name them. But there was, pertaining to the first point I was just making, someone had written something in a script that was grammatically incorrect. Now, do I speak in, a certain way? I wouldn't call it code switching. I know who I am, right? And I know how to speak on camera. Do I add, what do the kids call it? I forget.
Did they put hot sauce in without your permission? Is that what you're saying?
Basically. And I was like, and I remember asking, I'm like, wait, the way this is written, that's grammatically incorrect. Is that a typo? And they're like, oh no, I just thought that's how you would say it. I said, ¿Cómo? No. You must have me confused because I'm not falling for the okie doke. One, my mother would be livid with me. And yes, my mother lives in my head, and my mother she's an attorney now, but growing up, she has a master's in English. This is a woman who had me going to the library as a kid and writing book reports that were due for her, and then using her red pen to correct them in front of me. I'm talking about from second grade and up, and was a stickler for how I spoke and how I wrote. And I know that I don't just represent myself, I represent my family, the whole Knowles clan, my whole family, when I'm out there in front of the camera. And I had to let that producer know, well, I know you, for some odd reason, think that is how I would speak on camera because you've seen me give my pizzazz, I'm going to leave it at that, to a script.
Right.
You are misinformed if you believe that I'm going to go out there and make myself look like a fool, an uneducated fool, by saying something in a way that I never would. So I set that straight, and I just use a certain tone. I'm not a screamer. I don't yell. I don't get in people's faces. I'm not disrespectful. I'm never going to do that. But I will let you know when you've crossed a boundary.
And I imagine you find that you have this kind of pressure to balance being authentic and still be a professional.
That part.
And maybe everybody doesn't get it. So
no, they don't. And sometimes I think that when you see the kinds of stories that I tell on television versus if you check out my social media, by the way, bienvenidos, you're on the gram now. I see you. I saw you.
I had to get back on the gram. I got a podcast to promote.
I mean, but like just that, like me saying, I mean, like that's me, right? But I believe that some people take what they see of me on social media and think that I'm going to be exactly that way on camera. And there's a fine line. You sometimes have to tiptoe through the tulips when you're on camera in a professional setting. I don't believe that Instagram or TikTok or any of those kinds of social media platforms, which are meant for fun and being social, are the same thing as being an entertainment news anchor. So I just have to kind of tiptoe a little bit sometimes.
Well, and speaking of that, a lot of people don't know, speaking about balance, how much you're juggling. So to those out here watching, Melissa does, I don't know if you still, but you do your own makeup, you work out every day. Talk about, and I will say that for a lot of the successful anchors and correspondents I know, I think the one thing that a lot of y'all have in common is the ability to be disciplined and motivated and ambitious.
Sure.
Because talent is not enough. So talk about your grind and your mindset to continue that grind. Because for me, I'm not quite there.
I don't believe in that phrase as I keep seeing it pop up. I thought we had lost that with like 2021. No days off. You have to take days off. You have to like have resets with your mind. My grind starts every morning, Monday through Friday at 2:55 a.m. That is when my alarm goes off. Why 2:55? I know that sounds like such a crazy odd time. One, I love odd numbers. Just always have. I love the number 5. Just always have. And I need that time to kind of get my mind right. And I work out every morning before I go to work. So I have to be camera ready every morning at 6 a.m. I think that's which to most people are like, oh gosh, that's early. It's early. It's early as hell.
That's the job.
That's the job, though. That's the job I signed up for. That's the job I've maintained for darn near 8 years, right? And I worked so hard to get here, so I'm going to do what it takes to stay here. I get up or I wake up. I don't get out of bed yet. Wake up at 2:55, and I give myself time to indulge a little bit. It might be cruising on social media, seeing what stories came out overnight that I hadn't seen, just kind of getting myself caught up and ready for the day. And then I'm in my me time zone. You and I had a conversation recently where you were like, so what motivates you? Do you need like something's coming up, an event that's coming up? And I'm like, the event is every day. The event is me, right? I mean, and being completely honest, I'm vain. And I just turned 40. I'm not afraid to put that number out there. I was before. I've been talking to my therapist about that. I'm not anymore though. And I'm vain when it comes to the way I look in front of the camera. When you have to be in front of the camera every single day, and most of the time people are only hearing a few words and then moving on to the next thing, I know that people's attention spans are short. And so I want to make sure that when they're looking at me, they're not distracted by, oh, well, I don't know, what's she doing with her hair that day? Or what is she, all of that. But I also devote that time, not just because I want, my arms to look ripped, but because that's the only time during the day that I'm really going to be able to get that the house is completely quiet. I have a son, he's almost 4, I have a dog. I don't know how old my dog is. He's a rescue. My husband, and we occasionally have guests here. My stepmom is visiting now. But that's the time that I dedicate to myself, where I meditate, where I get on my Peloton, I'm all about the spin classes, or I'm doing yoga, something every morning that's just for me. 3 times a week, I do arms and light weights for 10 minutes, guided. I do HIIT classes, and it just helps me like get my mind right for the day, prepare for the day mentally so that I can show up as my best every day. And I don't always, but I really do try. And I'm really streaky. I don't know how that's coming across saying I'm streaky. What I mean by that is that I kind of am obsessed with streaks. So I have not missed a day in 2022. I have done something every day, whether that's meditating, like on my off days. So usually Sundays are a day where I don't do anything physical because I'm going to soccer practice. I'm making sure I did all the laundry because I'm a Southerner. I'm old school, and I don't know if you saw actually, I know you did because you liked it. I was at the washaterior because that's what we called it growing up. I was at the washaterior because our washer was on the fritz, and we had just piles of laundry because we'd gone out of town. Kids run through clothes, 3, 4 outfits a day. I say 4, not 4. And so I had all this
Mm-hmm.
laundry piled up and it just needed to get done. So I went to the washateria to get all that done. That was like half my day on Sunday after soccer practice. And I made dinner. And I mean, it's a constant juggling act. I wouldn't even call it a balancing act because I never feel as if I'm completely balanced. There's always something that's going to fall, right? Like I'm always just juggling all these balls, where it's work, my home life or whatever. I'm grocery shopping, I'm doing all the things, but I really am living the life that I want, the life that I always dreamt that I would be living at 40.
I appreciate you for being so authentic, and I appreciate you saying that you're not going to have a Pam Oliver hair moment. But no more, no shade to her. No shade. Well, a shade to her. But Melissa Knowles will not be doing that. But one of the things I really love about you is finding out that you cook. We did a segment and you cooked, and I was like, wow, she's actually moving around this kitchen like she does it a few times a week. So I love that about you. My mom always cooked for me growing up. So I love that you're still, despite the fact that you're waking up at 2:55, you're still getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
But you talked about your home life, your kids, your husband. You mentioned it. Tell me a little bit about that. And do you expect to grow your family anymore?
Oh, I'm gonna tell you what I tell everybody else. Y'all better stay out of my uterus. Okay. What's happening over here is I am savoring the moment. Okay. I am enjoying where I am right now. As I said, my child is almost 4. And if we decide to, we will. If we don't, we won't. That's just where we are at this current moment. So I'm married to, I should mention, y'all probably see me. Look at that. There he is. There's my husband making an appearance right here because I'm in what was supposed to be my home office, but turned into his because of the pandemic. Um, my husband Scott and I have been married for 5 years, and the wait, is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to do the bathroom because that's horrible. That's horrible.
Y'all got married in 2015?
2017.
No,
2017. Sorry.
2017.
Because we got
Okay.
married here. We had a surprise wedding in our house, which was supposed to be, well, everybody thought that it was a housewarming slash engagement party. But an hour into it, we sneaked upstairs. I changed into my wedding dress and he changed into his tux, and we got married in the living room. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It's awesome. But Scott is always working. He has 2 full-time jobs, running one company and then also doing commercial real estate. And then, what I do. So we really work opposite schedules. And I think that finding someone who is a real partner, who like you have your thing you're good at, I have my things that I'm good at. Like Scott doesn't cook. I mean, he can make like 1 or 2 things really, really well. Omelets,
like eggs or something.
Yeah, omelets. See there. Omelets,
always eggs.
He's real. I can't make an omelet to save my life. I cannot. It always turns into a scramble. I can't get the flip right. It ain't for me. But then I look at me speaking ain't. Anyway. But I do the cooking most of the time, or we order out. And Scott, this is horrible. Scott does all the bill paying. So because your girl likes to shop.
I salute you, Scott. I salute you.
He's a good man. And he is just the most incredibly supportive, thoughtful, kind partner, even when no one is looking, when nobody is around, when, it's just the 2 of us. And we work at that. I think that, and being parents, man, you did not warn me. I mean, maybe a little bit you warned me. Being a parent is the hardest job I have ever had. As hard as I thought it was going to be. I wish it were that easy, because it just isn't.
Yeah.
It's just what did you say it was recently? Because I started using that. Oh, it's like being hazed.
Being hazed 24/7. I'm like, at some point, this is going to stop, right?
Nope.
It ain't stopping.
Nope.
I can see why them jive turkeys from the 70s was just like, I'm going to get a pack of cigarettes.
Not jive turkeys,
but
cigarettes
jive turkeys,
and a 40.
But no, we're sticking it out in 2022 and being better parents. So
we are.
salute to you for doing that. Before we get to the fun, because I can't have you on here and not have fun.
Uh-oh.
You talked about young people and again, folks, she's getting a lot done. What I noticed is that you would always have like someone from college come into your office. You're mentoring. I mean, people are reaching out to you on their own.
Yeah.
She's not going through like the company channels. It's just when the opportunity presents itself, you're mentoring it. And I got to say, I got to get better at that. I get in my zone and I don't want to be bothered. But I mean, why is that so important to you? And why should I be mentoring more?
Because I give a damn. that's the bottom line. If you give a damn and you want people to feel like they're seen and heard, and you want to have an impact on the next generation, you open yourself up to helping others. And my mom and my dad have always been that way with mentoring. So I saw that growing up. So it comes naturally to me. A lot of times I'll do speaking engagements, and usually high schoolers or young people who are in college, young people, gosh, you all win. People, but the younger generations.
That's them young knees right there. That's them young knees.
Not the knees, but people who are wanting to get into the business and who, have seen me on social media or have watched me on TV are curious, and they will reach out in a DM. This is not inviting everybody to DM me, by the way. And I rarely
they go down.
It does. But they will reach out. And a lot of times they're surprised that I reply. I haven't been able to have somebody shadow me since the pandemic, right? I'm looking forward to doing that again, though, because I teach you what you cannot learn in a classroom setting. As I've said before, I keep it so real, I keep it raw. I try to help young people, there I go again, young people not make the same mistakes I made early on in my career. And I try to give them a leg up on the competition by letting them know what works and what doesn't. And I'm very honest. I think a lot of times when someone asks me if they can shadow me, they're expecting it to be kind of a cakewalk. And it's like, nope, we hit the ground running. You need to be here at 5 o'clock. And I've had some people show up at like 5:05, 5:15. I'm like, you're late. They're like,
we're in news. We got deadlines.
Thank you. This is live television, bro. What's you doing? If I tell you need to be here at 5 o'clock, you should have been here at 4:45.
Facts.
I mean, so but I do that because you want to mess up now off camera and let me help correct your course so that when it's game time, you're ready to go. I mean, we're not talking about practice, okay? This is the game.
Practice.
Okay? The game, okay? Okay, this is
all right. So
I am the answer.
One piece of advice, just a quick piece of advice that you would tell a young person who can't slide into your DMs that's thinking about getting into this business.
Mm-hmm. Over-prepare.
What would it be?
Over-prepare. And by that, I mean, you need to stay ready. You don't have to get ready if you stay ready. And what I mean by that is, let's say you've decided, I want to be a sports reporter. So I kind of fell into sideline reporting. I'm so grateful for the time that I spent at ESPN and ESPNU. I miss those days. I would love to do some more sideline reporting at the professional level, professional sports level, and maybe even college, because college sports is so fun. They're still so hungry, although now they can make money doing it, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time.
Right.
But you have to really dive in, know people's stories, know little tidbits of information about people. I think that is what will set you apart when you're not just showing up to be pretty in front of the camera or to just have a viral moment. You are preparing yourself. You are reading constantly. You're following the blogs. You're following social media posts. And you're engaged. So I think that is the biggest piece of advice that I could leave you with, is that you should be over preparing all the time.
Nice. And semi putting you on blast, Melissa showed me a funny video of a fan of, what was it, the Pistons fan made her a love song on YouTube.
Oh my God,
it touched me. It was beautiful.
What?
It was hilarious.
I didn't even, so here's a funny story. My husband, Scott, when we were dating, he found that. I hadn't even seen the video, and I was like, what is this? Now, my husband grew up loving R&B, still does. And he said, wait, is this the video from, oh my goodness, now I can't think of it. What was the R&B group, the young kids? Oh my goodness, the ones who sang
like ABC?
Aisha. Yeah, Aisha,
ABC?
you are. He's like, I think that's from the Aisha video. I'm like, how you know it's from Aisha? You know, he's like, okay. I mean, he's a Jersey boy.
He got some stripes.
He has a street cred. We get he has a black card. We have given him his black card. It might get revoked, but he's got a black card. But he saw it and sent it to me, and I said, "What is this?" And then, the people at work saw it, and they were like, "We've done some investigating, and this person is not a threat, but you're safe." And I was like, "Oh, I never thought of it as a threat. I thought this was just a person who..."
No, it was funny. It was clearly flattering and lighthearted. So it was not creepy.
No, it wasn't.
So I'm sure you get a lot of creepy stuff, but that was not
so much anymore. Not so much anymore, but I used to. Oh my gosh. I appreciate not getting a lot of creepy stuff now.
Well, Melissa, like I said, we got to
Okay.
have a little fun. I
hmm
can't have one of my favorite, TV people on it and not have a little fun.
Let's go.
I could talk to you forever, but since I can't,
Okay.
I developed a personality profile that would make the FBI jealous. This is a speed round of questions and will let me know a lot about you and people out here watching. Are you ready?
Born. Go.
Summer or fall?
Fall.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. All day.
I knew it.
You
Team
knew the
Lori
answer to that
Harvey
one.
or Michael B. Jordan?
Oh, why you do that? Oh.
Pick a side.
Oh, okay. Can I give an explanation? I just have to say one. I have to say one.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I've met Michael
Mm-mm.
B. Jordan, so and my husband is a huge fan of Creed, so Michael B. Jordan.
All right. 7:00 on the dot. Where is Usher?
In his drop top, cruising the streets.
Bloom, 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 bloom. All right. Coldplay or Maroon 5?
Maroon 5, I think they have more flavor.
Speaking of flavor, Polynesian or buffalo sauce?
Boo, neither one.
What?
I'm
Aren't
not.
you a ranch person?
I mean,
You're a ranch person, ain't you?
yeah, or honey mustard. I like ranch
That's
or
that
honey
Texas.
mustard. But you know what? Because let me just tell you something. Like it's like when people put barbecue sauce on something. If it's real barbecue, you don't need any sauce. Second, I don't like to dip
That's
into
that
things.
Texas.
I mean, through and through, native Houstonian right here. Yeah, I don't believe in sauces. I think I've tasted Polynesian sauce one time. I do like ranch sometimes, but yeah, no sauces, no thank you.
How short do you like to see Hoochie Daddy shorts?
Not
Are we
that
in the
short.
7-inch range, the 5-inch range?
I mean, I guess it depends on his thunder thighs. If you're, I'm
Thigh
gonna stick with,
dependent.
I'm gonna stick with 7 because 5 is cutting it low. That's low. That's too low.
Kobe or LeBron?
Kobe.
LeBron or Michael?
Michael.
Prince or Michael? See what I did there?
Prince. Yeah, Prince.
Cocktail or wine?
Ooh. Cocktail. My favorite is Naked and Famous.
I'll leave it there. Whole Foods or Publix?
Whole Foods. Yeah, she bougie.
Oh, I know it. She bad and bougie.
I mean, I like organic.
All right. Speaking of bougie, Target clothing. Yay or nay?
Don't sleep on Target clothing. Matter of fact, I have a maternity dress. No, I'm not expecting that I still wear. That is from Target. It's tie-dye. It's pink. It is the bomb round the house dress. You know, everybody's mama had that one dress that she wore forever. This is gonna be that dress.
Tyrese Gibson's acting career in a word.
A word. Because I'm thinking about Baby Boy. How about?
I'll answer it for you. Damn.
I was about to say, you my real girl.
Oh, Tyrese. All right. And last but not least, your Houston bonus question. Hakeem Olajuwon is to basketball as Chameleonaire is to...
Hip hop. Okay. My dad represented him in a case once. Hakeem.
Very nice.
Olajuwon. That's how you have to say it.
Oh, he represented him or
No, he represented
Chameleonaire?
Chameleonaire, but my dad's a lawyer too. But no, he represented Chameleonaire for a case. Don't ask me which cases, I don't know, and this was at least a decade ago. But whenever you say Hakeem Olajuwon in Houston, I was there when we won the championships, plural. Put some respect on it. Respect, okay?
Yeah.
But you have to say it like that. Hakeem.
94.
Olajuwon. I was in middle school.
I remember.
Wow. The whole city was
Shout out.
lit.
Shout out to The Dream. And shout out to Riding Dirty. All right. Well, that concludes my profile of you. My findings are you are Vanessa Williams-esque. That is girl next door bougie.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I will take that honor. Thank you. Okay. If only I had her eyes, though. Melissa Williams, those eyes.
Classic, right? Well, listen, Melissa, you're a busy woman. You probably got some meat thawing. I know that you got a lot going on. So, but listen, once again, I appreciate you taking the time out to do this. Again, my first interview on Unmitigated Gall. We love you for it. So thank you for chivalry too. We really appreciate your time.
It was absolutely my honor to be here, and I'm so pleased. I got to be your first guest, Goldson. I love what you're doing here with Unmitigated Gall. Y'all are onto something here. Y'all really are.
And last, this is the part of the interview where you plug your stuff, your socials, whatever you like, fire away.
Okay, so on every social platform, I'm at Knowles It All. That's KNOWLESITALL. I don't know it all, but I like to pretend that I do, or at least I'm getting to know it all. So yeah, Knowles It All on all social platforms, and my website is melissanowlestv.com.
You heard the woman. Follow, like, subscribe. Melissa, talk to you later.
All right, take care. Bye.